So I recently got back from my COVID-friendly road trip. I'm sure you're familiar with that Groundhog's Day effect, the one where it feels like you're living the same day over and over and over again. Well, I've been working from home and I was really feeling it. So one day I texted my partner and said, I really want to see waterfalls. So we put our heads together and we picked out a road trip that would be pretty safe and socially distanced. But before I get into where we went, what made it COVID-friendly? First, we picked a road trip rather than fly somewhere. And that's because you can drive socially distanced. You can't really fly socially distanced. You're kind of just trapped next to whoever's next to you, but in a car, you're isolated off from the entire world. Next, we had our masks and our hand sanitizers everywhere. We avoided large crowds. We didn't spend too much time indoors. And for the most part, we just followed basic social distancing guidelines. And the final piece was that we picked out destinations based on things that were exciting because of nature. We didn't pick somewhere with an amazing restaurant or an amazing venue. It was really all about those big, beautiful open spaces. So the first thing we did was, we live in Colorado, and we took a reasonable drive out to Moab, Utah to visit the Arches National Park. That place is huge. We planned for 2 to 3 hours there, and we used every minute of it. Road trip day 2, we wake up in Salt Lake City, we start driving north, and our first stop is Shoshone Falls National Park, just outside of Twin Falls, Idaho. I've been there as a kid, but I didn't really remember it, but I really wanted to see waterfalls, and that was the first big notable one along the way. So we get back in the car and drove all the way to Bend, Oregon. One of the things along the way is the Central Oregon Highway. It was a really fun drive and I super enjoyed doing it. So we slept in the next morning, and the next item on the agenda was Silver Falls National Park. But to get there, we had to drive US 20 through the Cascades. That is a gorgeous drive, super highly recommend it, and it takes me to my personal favorite waterfall park. Get on your Google machines and look up Silver Falls National Park. Definitely hit up the North Falls. But the South Falls, it's a little bit more touristy with a little bit of an easy walk, and then it butts right up against this big, beautiful gorge. And the path to the bottom, you actually take down and walk behind the waterfall. Back on the road, we take the highway out to the Oregon coast, and we end the day at Lincoln City. It's a cool small town that sits right on the Oregon coast, and it's been an absolute vacation favorite of mine since, like, always. And Lincoln City has these cool tide pools. We were kind of there at the wrong time, and it was a little foggy, but that was fine because it sure beats being cooped up at home. Next, we went and checked out the Prehistoric Store, which is an association with the Prehistoric Museum across the street. And after that, we went to Reed's Homemade Candy. That night, we went and saw the sunset up at Rhodes End Beach. It was a really great romantic place for us to just kind of hang out and watch the sunset. We picked up some firewood and some drinks, and we built a fire on the beach. It was gorgeous, and I absolutely loved it. So the next day, it was time to leave Lincoln City, even though I didn't really want to. But we make our way up to the historic Columbia River Highway, and it takes you from waterfall to waterfall to waterfall, and it's got gorgeous views of the Columbia River all along the way. The next day was our day to just really take in Bend, Oregon and Subtle Lake nearby. We went and rented a paddleboard and picked up a bottle of cider from the local cidery, ate in the car, had our coffee, and got ourselves to Subtle Lake. Some part of me feels like I should have been doing more, but it turns out a relaxing day by a gorgeous lake is just really nice. Sadly, that was our last relaxing vacation day, and the next day we had to pack up and go home. So my biggest takeaways: a COVID-friendly road trip vacation, an awesome vacation, without question. Absolutely 100% possible. There's a lot of world out there, and you can still go and see a lot of it. And finally, this trip would have been incredible post-COVID, when everything's on the table.